Hey guys, this is God of Politics and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and join the Discord that is linked down in the description. But in today's video, what I'm going to be looking at is some of the election results from yesterday. Believe it or not, we had some elections yesterday from actually 7 states. It's been called a Super Tuesday here. 7 states plus the District of Columbia had elections yesterday, some just presidential. Most of them, some just congressional, not presidential, like Iowa, for example, and some both, which is many of them. And so we'll be looking at the individual results, but starting with the Democratic primary here, we can see that Joe Biden is inching very close to the magic number of 1991 delegates that he needs. He's currently at 1931. He needs 60 more delegates to get to the magic number of 1991. He probably won't get that with the delegates that are allocated from the election results last night, unless he, gets most of the delegates from Pennsylvania and Indiana and New Mexico. It's highly unlikely that he will do that, but we'll see how that turns out. But he will get it, when we have the elections on June 9th in Georgia and West Virginia, so he'll clinch it by then. But the interesting thing, these individual primaries aren't very interesting because Joe Biden's winning all of them by landslides. But the interesting thing is, especially in the state of Pennsylvania, comparing turnout between the Democrats and the Republicans, because this is actually some good news for Republicans here. Donald Trump's had high turnout throughout this entire primary, which is very, unprecedented. Usually the incumbent party does not get anywhere near the same amount of votes as the non-incumbent party in the primaries. Donald Trump has actually beaten Joe Biden in many states in terms of votes, and this is good news for him. This is a sign that he has a very enthused and energized base, and that's going to help him come November because he does a lot of things that excite his base, which you could argue really Obama did not do while he was in office, which is why he did not get the same primary turnout, which is why Bush did not get the same primary turnout. And, Donald Trump's had a relatively uncontested primary, and so that's very interesting. But getting into these results here, we can see from the Pennsylvania primary results, we've had some conflicting information in terms of the results, who's winning, how much they're winning by, so on and so forth. In the Pennsylvania Democratic primary results, Joe Biden currently, according to CNN, has 610,000 votes, with 53% of the vote reporting. On the Republican side, Donald Trump has 761,000 votes, with 73% of the vote reporting. So according to this math here, I do believe that Joe Biden is still going to beat Donald Trump. According to these numbers, Joe Biden is still going to beat Donald Trump in terms of the numbers, despite the fact that he's getting 15-20% less of the vote here, but it is still a good sign for Donald Trump. And you can obviously make the counter argument that the congressional races are on this day, but there is still going to be lower turnout amongst the Republican sides, and these results prove that this is not going to be smooth sailing for either party. Pennsylvania is going to be closer. I did think for a second that Joe Biden was pulling away, but this does reiterate the fact that Donald Trump does have a very strong base. There's a lot of Republicans in the state. There's a lot of Democrats in the state. It's going to be a very close election either way. So looking at the overall map here, again, Joe Biden needs 60 more delegates here. He'll get very close to it. He'll probably get to around 1970 after these results, and then he'll easily get past it from the June 9th results, pushing him over the top and giving him the majority. If we look at these New York Times results here, we can actually see some quite interesting results from the congressional district level and the Senate level and the gubernatorial level, for example. One of the most notable ones, this was actually #1 trending on Twitter, Steve King, the 9-term incumbent from Iowa's 4th district. He's, well known to be a racist. He's been called a white nationalist. I would perfectly agree with those statements about him. He is completely a white nationalist. It's completely ridiculous. Some of the things he said, they're completely awful. I'm completely glad he's gone. Most people are completely glad he's gone. And he seems to have gotten, completely destroyed here. We can see he's lost by almost 10 percentage points here with 100% of the vote reporting. Randy Feenstra here has won against Steve King, the 9-term incumbent here. And this is a very good result here because, Steve King was not a good representation of what the people want in Congress, and luckily he is now gone. In the Iowa Senate Democratic primary here, we can see that Teresa Greenfield here, I don't know too much about her. She's an all right candidate here For the state of Iowa, she'll be going up against Joni Ernst, who's not the most popular person, but I do expect her to still win because it is the state of Iowa. New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District. This is an interesting one because you have Xochitl Torres Small here, who really got a fluke election in New Mexico's 2nd. People were saying that it was going to be a rematch of the last result, but no, Yvette Herrell has won the primary, and this person, I do believe, is not the best candidate to go up against Xochitl Torres Small, which is why this election is not going to be in this district, is not going to be a complete landslide, but I do still expect them to win that district in New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District. New Mexico 3rd Congressional District, this is a vacated seat because the current person has run for the Senate election, which we'll talk about in a second, but actually we'll talk about it now. In the New Mexico Senate primary, the incumbent from New Mexico's 3rd Congressional District has won for the one uncontested primary for the Senate race. She's going up against I believe, a former meteorologist on the Republican side, so that would honestly be a safe election if I would have to predict it now. I believe I put it likely yesterday in my Senate election prediction, which you should check out, but I do believe I would change that to safe after this. Pennsylvania's 1st Congressional District, this is a interesting one because you have Brian Fitzpatrick here, who's one of the last 3 people, or 2 or 3 people in a district that Hillary Clinton won. You have Texas 2030 of this district, and you have 2 of the North Carolina districts, but they don't really count, so that's 2 districts. One of them is this. I do still expect Brian Fitzpatrick to win. Christina Finello is not the best candidate for the state, and I do believe that they are going to lose to Brian Fitzpatrick, but this is going to be a close result just because of the fact that this is a district that Hillary Clinton won. This is another toss-up district, Pennsylvania's 7th Congressional District. We have Lisa Scheller here, who has beaten Dean Browning. Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District. This is a very interesting one because you have Matt Cartwright here, who's in a district that Trump won by 10 points. This is one of the very close primaries of the night. It looks like Jim Bognet is going to win. Pennsylvania's 10th Congressional District. This is going up against Scott Perry, who's a very strong conservative who barely won in 2018. It looks like Eugene DePasquale is going to be the candidate from that district. Maryland's 7th Congressional District. Here we have Kwesi Mfume, who has won the special election in April, who's running for the full term. You have Maya Cummings here, who's the widow of Elijah Cummings, and that's a very interesting one. There. We have Baltimore Mayor. You have Sheila Dixon here. I believe she was the person indicted on corruption charges or something like that in the mayor's race. She has now won again. Here we have some more interesting results here. We have the Montana Governor Democratic primary. We have Mike Cooney here. Mike Cooney is the lieutenant governor of the state of Montana going up against Greg Gianforte. Greg Gianforte is the representative from Montana's at-large district, beating Tim Fox, the attorney general of the state. So now there's a matchup between Mike Cooney and Greg Gianforte. This is going to be probably the only interesting governor race of the year, and it's going to be very interesting. I do believe Greg Gianforte of the Republican side is slightly favored at this moment, but this is going to be a very interesting result regardless. So that's kind of going through the rundown of some of these races here. If you have some more races here, there hasn't been too many important races. That's kind of the rundown of the most important races here. So overall, this wouldn't be the best night for either side. I would say that there has been good news for Republicans, especially in states like New Mexico and Pennsylvania. If you look at the primary turnout for for New Mexico, the state of New Mexico, Joe Biden has 151,000 votes with 82% reporting. Donald Trump has 136,000 votes with 99% reporting. And so, obviously, the Democrats got more votes, but it is a good sign that there is high turnout amongst the Republican Party for Donald Trump. That's something that we really have not seen in a very long time, and it's something that I do believe is very important, and it's crucial if Donald Trump wants to win, because this is one of the things that we haven't really seen in politics before, and that's someone who has a basically unwavering base. Donald Trump has that 35% support base that he really hasn't lost approval from, and that base is unwavering. They will stick with him pretty much no matter what. And so that's going to be very interesting to see, how many donations does he get from them come election day, things like that. And so this is going to be a very interesting election. Overall, there's many important races here. The presidential race is going to be very close. Some of these gubernatorial races are going to be close. Some of these Senate races are going to be very close. I'll do some of my predictions tomorrow. Tomorrow's video will be about the protests and how that is going to affect the election. Some people are saying it could go one way. Some people are saying it could go another way. We'll see how that turns out here. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. I thought this would just be an interesting video to make about some of the primaries that occurred yesterday. I didn't do a prediction on them just because I didn't really have much information on them, and there wasn't really much point for these predictions anyway. But yeah, so thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, follow me on Twitter, that is linked down in the description, and join the Discord, that is linked down in the description. So thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.